Kings Island threw everyone off when they shockingly announced that they were adding a new family coaster for the 2024 season, because everyone thought that the park's next roller coaster would be a major one. So what does that mean for Kings Island's biggest question mark? What will replace Vortex, and what year will it happen? Because here's a look at a coaster concept that I created that could very well become the best roller coaster in the park if built. Opening in 1972, Kings Island has been home to 23 different roller coasters over the years. And as of 2024, Kings Island will be opening its 15th coaster, 16th if you include Pipe Scream. No one saw this announcement coming, and I think it's great. Kings Island gets a brand new coaster for their kids area, the first new one in the area since Runaway Reptar opened in 2001. Snoopy's Soapbox Racers is a new impressive Vekoma family boomerang coaster that's going to be a huge hit for the park. But now that KI snuck in this new credit, what does the future hold coaster-wise for the Mason, Ohio park? And my biggest question is, will their new coaster clock get reset and thrill seekers like you and I now have to wait another 3 or 4 years before the park opens their next major coaster? If you're like me and you love the Beast, then you're also going to love my Beast of a Coaster merch line. So be sure to check out my Keep Riding Coasters gear store for comfortable and affordable merch to maximize your airtime potential. Kings Island is in a very interesting position with the Vortex plot of land, and now rumors about something coming to the old Son of Beast station and area. And before I share with you what type of coaster makes the most sense for Kings Island and when I think it's going to get built, let's narrow down the location for the park's next coaster. Because the Son of Beast area is pretty intriguing if you ask me. And as you can see, this is how much room the park's 218-foot tall wooden hypercoaster took up when it was in operation. Then, it was torn down to make room for the park's B&M inverted coaster Banshee, which opened in 2014. Highlighted is the old Son of Beast station, and clearly as you look around it, there isn't a whole lot of room for a major coaster to be located here, especially with the layouts of the Bat and Banshee almost overlapping. Unless Kings Island had the coaster layout follow this path running in between the Bat and the Timberwolf Theater and have the layout extend to the left or the right from there. Now in my opinion, this would be the best way a coaster could fit in this area unless they wanted to travel over the Bat and Banshee, which could very well happen. While I do think this area of the park will be home to a new coaster in the next 10 years, I do not think it will be for the next major roller coaster for Kings Island. I think it makes all the sense in the world for Kings Island to build their next major coaster in the Vortex plot of land, for obvious reasons. Vortex was the world's first roller coaster to flip riders upside down 6 different times and occupied just over 4 acres, which is a ton of room for pretty much any type of coaster Kings Island wanted to build. And as for the new coaster, there has been a lot of speculation around a new B&M coaster of some kind. Could we see a new dive coaster, or what about a wing coaster? And for those of you who think that Kings Island will not add a dive or wing coaster because Cedar Point is located 3 hours away and you have Valraven and Gatekeeper, well, the park has already done this before, and very recently, with Raptor opening at Cedar Point in 1994, and then Banshee opening at Kings Island in 2014. And while I personally think there are a few coaster models out there that would be a better fit, these two have to be in consideration for the park. The areas where Kings Island lacks the most is in a modern coaster, non-inverted, that features inversions, and a modern launch roller coaster. And I've been predicting now for a while that Kings Island's next coaster could very well come from Mack Rides and be a similar ride to Copperhead Strike down at Carowinds. And while I do think that's a great choice for the park, there is still one more coaster type out there that I would rather see, and I'm sure you would as well. What if we would see a brand new 200-foot tall RMC hybrid coaster. Now talk about a coaster that Kings Island desperately needs. This would give Kings Island a coaster with top 10 potential. But sadly, I'm about to burst your happy bubble in 3, 2, 1. I highly doubt it's going to be an RMC. And while I think all the other coaster options besides the RMC that I just mentioned would be a solid fit for the park, something that I mentioned in past videos just took a serious turn from a possibility to way more probable. A new multi-launch roller coaster filled with inversions, airtime, tunnels, and other amazing elements from Vekoma. Now that Cedar Fair is working with Vekoma again, and what is there not to get excited about that? I predict that we will see a new multi-coaster contract from Cedar Fair and Vekoma. That is because this company has quickly transformed themselves into one of the worst coaster companies to one of the best in about a 5-year span. And if Kings Island would get a multi-launch coaster from Vekoma, then this could be a roller coaster that could easily become the best in the park if the budget allowed for it. As for the next roller coaster to appear on that epic Kings Island skyline, I'm definitely thinking it will be a launch coaster of some kind, especially since we have to go back to 2005 because that was the last year that we saw a launch coaster added to the park. The then Paramount's Kings Island opened the Italian Job stunt track. So I predict that the next roller coaster for Kings Island will offer a launch or possibly two. I think it would be really cool if Kings Island paid homage to the late Vortex with this coaster. And be sure to become the newest Theme Park Prediction subscriber because in one of my next videos, I'm going to share with you a coaster concept that would be a game changer for the park. A steel monster of a coaster that would pay homage to Vortex in so many ways. And that video is coming very soon. Also, if you're planning a trip to Kings Island, then you're going to want to check out my insider guide video for the park where I share with you tons of great tips to help enhance your day and save you money. And you can find the link to that video in the description of this one. Now that you know my predictions as far as what type of coaster, I predict that the next coaster to open at Kings Island will be a Vekoma multi-launch coaster of some kind, but there's one major question that remains. What year could we see it happen? Starting off with 2025, I mean it could happen, and for proof, just look at Cedar Point. In 2023, they opened their new Wild Mouse coaster, and then the following year, they opened the new Top Thrill 2. While I could see it happening in 2025, I'm only going to give this a 35% chance of happening. Now, with a 60% chance of happening, I think we all need to focus on 2026 for this project. This would be 6 years after Kings Island opened Orion, and I do not see Cedar Fair taking that long to add the park's next major coaster. And with the 5% chance of happening, the year 2027 for this project. Again, I do not think we'll have to wait that long, but it will be very interesting to see what Cedar Fair does with this. So what are your thoughts about Kings Island's next roller coaster? How large will it be? Who builds it? And what year will it open? Be sure to let me know in the comments, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Remember to smile today, think positive, and keep riding coasters.